Hey guys, I just finished evaluating the Theorycraft deck contest. I looked at a bunch of decks, and a ton of you guys submitted. Thanks for all the submissions. Sorry if you didn't make it into the YouTube video, and if you made the YouTube video, you'll be drawn from that pool for a chance to win a United in Stormwind bundle. Provided by Blizzard. So congrats to you guys for the chance. We'll see tomorrow live on stream, or today, Sunday, August 1st. But bottom line is you guys submit a lot of decks, and you guys had some great ideas. I was really impressed. Some of these things are great. I'm just, thinking just really creative uses of new cards. Some really well put together decks. I was really impressed. Just you guys. I've always said this: you don't have to be the most experienced player. You don't need the most technically sound player to have a great idea and make a great deck. A lot of times, I actually think really great players get used to of course this is good and of course this is bad, and they actually can be blinded by their own skill into making great decks. Because they kind of just, they're used to playing well. And a lot of being a great deck builder is experimenting, trying out ideas, and sometimes those ideas suck. So getting those ideas right, it can be really good. So being able to experiment and try things around, because sometimes your ideas are bad, sometimes they're good. Doesn't matter if you're really smart, you're going to have bad ideas, you're going to have good ideas. So anyways, I got some of my favorite ideas. First, we got Sgt TBag with the Quest Paladin build, and it's running Aldor Attendants and Libram Wisdoms, so you can get the Libram Wisdom discounted to 1, and then that goes towards your quest. It runs Penflingers, so it can get the Penflingers back to complete the quest as well, so you can play that card multiple times. And then it runs Secrets and the Sword of the Fallen. The Sword of the Fallen package is good. Wand Maker gives you another 1-mana spell. Northwatch can allow you to draw a card. It only doesn't run any 4-drops. So it runs Kazakis, nice value card, and then it runs Lorthodon, Talon, and Lady Prestor. Lady Prestor can be used late game to turn all your deck into dragons, but for the same cost. So it's kind of a good late game value. Maybe you get a Ysira, maybe you get the 4/9 Onyx Drake, and you can get more value. So dragons usually are high value, so they're a great way to get more value. Well, I think this list looks really nice. Just doing simple things. It's got like secrets. It's got 1-drops. It looks like it'll be able to very easily complete the quest and start hero powering for obnoxious 3/3s every turn. It's going to be, I think this archetype could be really strong, and I just really like overall the way this is built. All right, next we got by a Selga, a Cycle Burn Mage. I think this concept is you kind of control the board, and you try and cycle through your deck, and you really abuse Ignite. Ignite does 2 damage, then 3 damage, then 4 damage. Just increases every turn. And so in the late game, you can run this, play the Sanctum of Chandler, which every time you cast a fire spell, which Ignite is one of them, you draw a card. So let's say you're at 10 mana and you also run Hot Streak. You can go Sanctum, Hot Streak, make your next fire spell cost less, and then play 3 Ignites which from your deck. Maybe you've already played 2, so it'd be 3, 4, 5, and you could just keep doing that over and over again. So it's looking to cycle through your deck, control the board. It does have the fire sale to do that well, and it just has cards like Cramp Session. I think I would like an Incanter's Flow in this deck somewhere. That's one of the kind of the only changes I would make. I think it's worth it, even though we're not completely in on the spell package. I think just being able to discount cards is going to be very valuable in a deck that's looking to cycle. Usually 2 mana will pay itself off far more later with the Incanter's Flow, in my opinion. But overall, I really like this idea. I'm not sure if this is the best way to do it, but I think going for a fast cycle, I think this Ignite card is absolutely broken. So I really like this idea overall. Next, we got an evolved shaman. So this is by Discord Duroy. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. And it's kind of an evolved shaman. It runs the Cage Rich Custodian, uses this tiny toys. So you play tiny toys, you play weapon on 5, and then you play tiny toys. You get 6 5-drops, and then you weapon hit. Technically, if you got an insane high roll from tiny toys, you wouldn't even need to do it. So let's say you got like, you know, a Talon Fording and a Gray Bow. You wouldn't even necessarily need to do it. But if you don't, you weapon hit and you get a bunch of 6-drops. That's really good. That's really good. So, one of the things I really like about it, it's running these box trucks, but it runs this mailbox dancer, which gives you 1 coin. But you can evolve that to deny the effect from your opponent, which is really good. So you get a coin, but you can deny it from your opponent. So I think that's a really cool effect. It's also running Pandarian Importer. I'm not exactly sure what are the quite cards it looks for, but I think Shaman has a lot of strong stuff going for it right now. But yeah, that being said, I'm not sure on all the stuff. I think it's running variant King of Stormwind to draw more cards, but it doesn't really have any Divine Shield cards, I don't believe. And it don't even think it only runs 1 taunt. So I think it's using this to taunt out the Carnival Clowns, but I think turning out some of this big stuff is a little bit overrated. But I think I like the concept as a whole. I think with the Primal Dungeoneers, but yeah, like I said, I think I'd like us to maybe cut some cards. I'm not sure about how I feel about Mankrik. I don't really think that's necessary, but overall, I just really like some of this concept, especially like the Mailbox Dancer. I thought that was a really smart choice, and I'm curious to see how it works. So, anyways, great idea. All right, next, and this was one of my absolute favorites, and I just didn't see this idea coming. This is Garrote OTK. So it runs the Garrote, which I believe shuffles. Let me get the exact text on the Play Hearthstone website real quick. So Garrote is, 1 second, is deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. Shuffle 3 bleeds in your deck that deal 2 more when drawn. Bleed cast when drawn. And the idea, and we'll see how this mechanics works, is you shuffle the cards in your deck, or you can even do it on the same turn. So it'll shuffle 3 in the deck, and then you play the Guild Trader, which is +2 spell damage. And then, so you prep that out. So we play the Guild Trader first, so it would do 4 damage. And then you play Grand Empress Shikara, which would draw all of them, so it would be 3, but they'd all get +2 spell damage. So it would be 6, and then with 2 more spells, so 12. So I'm not sure on the full damage that the deck can do. So let's see. The combo, they say full damage Guild Trader, prep, scare out. So you can do double prep as well. But so I think they say so it's 8 to 16. Oh yeah, so including the one you do, if you did double prep and double Garrett, you could do 32 damage in 1 turn with no preparation. You get a little weapon hits here. Maybe you get a Wicked Stab. And so the deck kind of is running a normal package of outside of this of just kind of normal Miracle control tools, things like Field Contact, things like Prize Plunder. So you can kind of cycle through your deck and just kind of do good tempo plays to survive, and then you do your Guild Trader play. I really love this idea. I hope it works, or maybe I don't. I don't know. This might be toxic, but I just think it's a great idea, and I hope the interaction with Guild Trader. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but this is the kind of deck building I think is just really great for the game, where you try and figure stuff out, try and figure out cool combos, and see if you can make them consistent, and see if you can make them actually work in the high tempo environment that is Hearthstone. Not just, my opponent's not going to kill me for 8 turns. See if you can survive and then execute your combo under pressure. I think that's really cool. So really cool deck idea. I'm a big fan. This one is a simple one, but I wanted this is by Itsame. It's just a real simple pirate quest. Nothing really too fancy about it. It's just kind of running pirates. It's running 2 weapons. I'm not sure how I feel about the whetstone hatchet, but just running pirates, tempo plays, cycle through your deck, get down the juggernaut as kind of a finisher, and hope to win with that. Like nothing too crazy, just simple tempo Hearthstone. Doesn't need a lot of 1-drops, only runs the 2/1s because it's usually playing Quest on turn 1. So, but overall, just a good, solid deck, I think, overall. I think this will be a good, solid kind of tempo choice. We'll see how long it lasts, but I think it's a fun deck that will definitely get you wins early on in the expansion. Next, we got a Quest Hunter, and I think a lot of people submitted Quest Hunters. It was hard for me to choose, but I really like this idea, and I think they had some cool stuff in this idea. One of the things I really liked is that they're running Wand Makers and Venomous Scorpions, and you can use Devouring Swarm to almost be like a Raise Dead from Priest. So the Wand Makers and the Scorpions are priests, how kind of they can do tempo plays to not fall too far behind, and you could do that with Hunter. You could play a Scorpion and then go to Devouring Swarm. You could discover Devouring Swarm. You could do Resizing Pouch to get another Devouring Swarm. So you can just keep on using that to delay while you get your quest done. And then you can use the Raza effect, and you have all these spells. You can make more with Lock and Load. I think this is really well done, and I think this list just looks... I really like this list of just like the way it was built. So this is by Leok, and just really nice list overall. I really like the ideas. Every card feels like it's there for a purpose, feels very clean, doesn't feel just going for the win condition that it is. Looks really nicely built deck. I expect you could probably play this deck day 1 and win with it. And it just looks real solid. I just really like the way it's built. So well done. So this next is this is kind of a take on Quest with the Ignite, but with the no minion mage. This is kind of an old archetype, but I think this kind of thing is probably the most likely to be successful mage archetype overall. All right, this is by Razvan, and it is just real simple. It's the old no minion mage, but it runs the Ignite and it runs the quest. So it's kind of playing to complete the quest, playing your spells, and hopefully, I think it's running an Ice Barrier to get another Frost spell, because there aren't that many Frost spells, unfortunately. I think that's the biggest weakness of the quest right now. They're not running fonts, which is interestingly might be just fine, because the deck is more playing for late game, though I could see fonts definitely being put back in, and I think they mentioned that in the description. But the idea is, now that you have a turn 1 play, you don't necessarily need to go font as much, because you already are kind of locked into your quest. But the idea is, play these cards, complete the quest. I still might cut Ice Barrier to put in the font, and I'd like to have another Fire Sale in the deck. But other than that, I think it's just real simple. Complete the quest, and then in the late game you can really go off with Ignites, as well as just your normal overpowered no minion mage stuff, but all with +3 spell damage. So I think this archetype is definitely going to work, but it's not the most exciting because it's something we've already seen. But the reality, looks like just a well-built deck overall. So I think it just definitely should do well, this kind of concept. All right, next we got one by ShawnC. ShawnC, you guys were only supposed to submit 1 deck. Submitted 2 decks. I like them both. ShawnC, you will not get double the odds, but you did make it, so you will get the chance to win like everyone else. But I put 2 of your decks in. I like them so much. You got some great deck building potential. Just really well made decks. And this one's more of a meme one, but it just had a nice curve. It's got mystery winners and Ellen boars. It's kind of playing a good amount of secrets. the Ringling's Rifle, and it's just trying to really going on all into getting these Elwyn boards died. It can draw them consistently with Scavenger Ingenuity and Breeder. It has this Leatherwood the weapon that if you have 3 beasts die, so you can get your beast dead. And this can also work with like a snake trap as well, which is running. It runs this North Shore Farmer and the Dire Frenzies to kind of keep shuffling them in. And I just really like a lot of the choices of this. You know, I could see one thing I could see is also runs the Devouring Swarm. So you could play like 2 Elwyn boards and then play Devouring Swarm and immediately get 2 Elwyn boards back in your hand. So I just like a lot of the choices. I just felt this was really well put together. Overall, it just, you know, it's got this little secret package, kind of this delay. It's not going as aggressive though. And it's looking to complete this Elwyn boar package. I just think really well put together, and I could see this build actually being okay. You know, do I expect it to be quite a real contender in the meta? But I think it's a deck that you can play for the memes and still win. You know, you're not winning just 20% of the time. I feel like you can pull it off an actual reasonable amount. So I think that's cool. So anyways, really like the build by ShawnC. And this was the other ShawnC build. This was just kind of control shaman, less mimi, but with Quest. But I think I just really liked it. I kind of felt like the Doomhammer archetype is just kind of getting boring, and I'm looking for new things. And Tiny Toys is looking to be an incredibly powerful card. It gets you 6 5-drops for 2 mana, but can kind of the Jandis effect where, you know, you get there's a lot of OP 5-drops. At 2/2s, you know, you could get the 2/2 death rattle summon a 5/8. You could get Tailing Fording. You could get Raz. You could get Greybow. Lots of really powerful 5-drops that you can hit that I think can really do some work. And it's looking to control the board. I actually think Charge Call is a really good card, but it just, how do you get enough? But you can discover a 4-drop, for example, and get the 5/10. I think that's really cool. So overall, I just think I really like the build of this. The one thing is I feel like this deck, even though it does have the Primal Engineers, could run out of card draw. It does have Cornelius, so I could be wrong here. But I kind of would like to see a Cage Match Custodian and a weapon just to kind of intermediate control the board. I think the weakest part of this deck is going to be the turn 1 through 4 push. You do have stuff like Novice Avid Landslide, which I think will do really well. But when you don't hit those cards and your opponent has an overwhelming thing, you might be just out of luck. So having a little weapon hit to, you know, deny a 2/3, for example, from Hunter, or something powerful from a Shaman, or maybe a Rogue, you know, you divide field contact without having, I think that could be a nice addition. So maybe cut 2 things. Maybe you cut like a Dunk Tank. I know the idea is duplicating the Dunk Tank, but, you know, maybe cut a Dunk Tank, maybe cut Lightning Bolts, because Lightning Bolts are really good at the quest, but maybe they're low value. Maybe there's a lot of different ways you could build this. But I like the idea overall. Another thing is interesting though, they are running the Primal Dungeoneer, but only Primal Protectors, they're only elemental. So that's one of the disadvantages, I think, for their point of view of running the Cage Match Custodian, but because now they can consistently tutor out these stuff. But that being said, I don't think the tutoring is going to be the problem. I think that's just going to be just fine. I think the running out of value, or the either running out of value early or getting run over in your turns 1 through 5, I think is what's going to hurt sometimes. So that's not the way I would build. But that being said, overall, I really love this to build, and maybe it's just fine as is. You know, reality is 5 hours of theory crafting is worth 30 minutes of testing. You go out and test something, you're like, oh, this card is good, this card is not. So I think that's something that I really like about testing. But overall, I really like this idea and this kind of build and this kind of win condition. I think it could work real well. Next, we got another Quest Hunter, but I just kind of liked, I wanted to feature this. I know I have 2 Quest Hunters, but this was, I just kind of liked the build. It runs Malygos to draw a bunch of stuff, and it runs kind of the Wand Makers, and it runs Professor Slate, so it's kind of using these to control the board, play defensive, and it's only running isn't running the other 4-drops, so it's only running Kazakus, so you can use it to get the 5-drops. It's kind of a little more tempo oriented, and it can use Malygos to get a whole bunch more stuff. So if you're kind of going against a value deck and you're going off on your your spells and you're running low on stuff, you go Malygos, you get a full hand, and then you can use that to easily Raza machine gun them down. So I think just another build that I liked of the Quest Hunter that I wanted to feature. Mainly, I really like the Malygos inclusion, and I could see that being included in other ones when you have these heavy spell hunter archetypes. Next, we got a Quest Warlock, but this is unlike my Quest Warlock build, it is a Quest Zoo Warlock. It's really going in on the zoo packets. It runs the Bloodbound Imp, it runs the Heckler Hyena, it runs Flame Imp. You're going to kill yourself real fast with this version. But it does run the Mosher to get some heal, which I like, and it runs the Touch of Nerazim, which are really easy heals, as well as Drain Soul. So it's really looking to kind of play with for board, not just play control. And then it also gets the advantage over mine of having Dark Layers to cheat on mana. So I think this is going to be really fast. It even runs Knife Enders, which I think is real nice because once you do it, it becomes a 4-mana deal 8. So I think you might be able to kill people really quick. Your turn ones are going to be a little weak. I think the biggest weakness is you might get run over by aggro with this build. So if someone goes wide early, it might be really tough for you to deal with. Something like a hunter, and a hunter is likely to be popular. You do have some of these cards which are good against single targets, but there isn't any really good wide removal like the 4-mana spell. You do have Lion's Guard though, but that can give you a big old taunt, so that can be quite good against a hunter. But overall, I think it's a cool, different way than my approach of more the control style to build the archetype. It's very tempo oriented. It's very board oriented. So, and you can get the big heals with the Moshers potentially. So something I just thought was a cool, different way to build the archetype. So curious to see if this works or if it's not quite as optimal. But just wanted to feature it. This was by Zaros, I believe. Yes. Okay. And I think this is our last one. This was and this one is this is an example of a deck. This is by Baguette, and this is an example of a deck that isn't really going to work. That I really like some of the meme ideas of it, and when they work, it's going to be really cool. So one of the things they're really just going all in on Lady Prestor. So a few things that I would like to see done. So first of all, Lady Prestor, it's going to be hard to consistently draw her. I think that's a negative. So I'd kind of like to see the 4/5 run, or the what's his name? But the I'll look him up. But like also Talon, and then you could maybe cut the Imprisoned Aliens. But it's interesting. So they're running all these overstated minions so that you can get overstated dragons. So for example, you have an Injured Marauder, which Battlecry deals 6, but then it becomes a dragon, so it becomes a 5/10 dragon. So it's a 5/10 dragon, and then you can use that to just have a 5/10 dragon for 4 mana. And I think that's the idea. It's kind of just a cool thing to think about. And I think also another card that you could run in this deck is Lorekeeper Polkit. So to more consistently draw out Lady Prestor, because that is your win condition. And then maybe have a few more control tools, maybe things like I-beams, stuff like that. But bottom line, I think that could be a really cool meme. And I think the meme that they talked about is if you get Kaldara Drake, which you can, it's a mage mage dragon, but if you have Felfire Deadeye, you play the Felfire Deadeye Kaldara Drake, and then your hero power costs 0, and it can refresh, and you just do 30 damage as long as you can click fast. That's not going to happen very often. You have to get lucky to get Kaldara Drake, but it was just too cool of an idea to go for me to turn down. So I don't think that a lot of this, some of the ideas I don't think will practically work. I think these overstated minions aren't necessarily going to win me back the game, and kind of the awkwardness of the list might make it difficult you might fall behind a lot, and the Lady Prestor isn't going to consistently get you back in the game. You have to do Lady Prestor, then you got to go Skull. It can be quite awkward. That being said, I think it's still just really fun ideas to go for. So I just thought some of these ideas that they were going for, I thought were really cool. So like I said, I don't think this list will work particularly, but I think just some of the ideas and what they're going for, the signs of a creative deck builder that can, just come up with like, oh, this is the crazy thing I'm trying to do. And sometimes once you can make that crazy thing happen consistently, all of a sudden you can get to a good deck. Like if you can keep yourself alive to get that crazy win condition off, and you pull it out consistently, it can be a really cool thing. So this is, I don't think this list is going to work, but I just love some of the ideas, so I wanted to include it. So anyways, I believe that is the last one. Yeah, this is back to you, Sgt TBag. So anyways, that's the last one. Thanks everyone for submitting. Sorry if you didn't make the list. So Sunday, August 1st, so possibly today if you're watching the YouTube video, I will be rolling between all these people who got their deck list in this. I will be rolling between them, and the winner will be decided randomly amongst them, and yeah, we'll give out their code. So anyways, hope to see you guys there, and enjoy, and congrats if you win. And also just thank you so much for all your submissions, guys. It's been a lot of fun looking at your decks, and I just love some of the ideas, and it's great to see all the great deck builders within our community. So anyways, hope you guys enjoy. Yeah.